And Ivan, as a First Nation member myself, I fully understand the why behind the question is asked and what it's based on, from the region and from past experiences with First Nations within the region for industrial development and the challenges that have been associated with that, and a lack of consultation for many of them. We've actively reached out to many of the other First Nations within the region, and now here, Ivan, you can respect that I won't name all of the groups that are out there, but we actively reach out and request an open dialogue with the First Nations that are out through there. And I respect that we have been publicly called out by groups like Mushkegowuk, and we have an open offering of discussion at any point in time. If Mushkegowuk, likewise for Attawapiskat, if Attawapiskat is so inclined to engage and have a discussion about it, we're willing to be there, looking for an invite to come to the community and to meet with chief and council or to meet with community members. And like I said for today, very happy to answer in an open and transparent manner the questions that people have. And to your question on the potential for activities to have impact on the river systems and the ecosystems, one of the fundamental tenements, one of the fundamental bases of the project is to develop a project that is co-led and co-managed from the project's perspective, so today around designing what the operation looks like, through to the operations a portion of the project, through to the closure. And that co-led and co-managed process is a process that we are engaging with on a First Nations basis. Now, of course, Marten Falls and Webequie today are in those discussions, and we would open and welcome those discussions to other interested First Nations that would like to participate in that. Because I believe it's important through that process that the First Nations community members of the region have an opportunity to present what their thoughts, their beliefs, their view is on what the design from a project should look like, how it's managed through operations, and even before it starts, understand what it should look like when the operation is completed and it would be returned to the area would be returned to its natural state. And I think that's very important because you also expressed, although your plans are for nothing to go wrong, how do you manage when things go wrong? Part of co-management with First Nations is ensuring that community members have the capacity, have the training, have the necessary knowledge to participate in the active and ongoing monitoring and understanding. As we all see in our own natural environments, we can see patterns before we have consequences and responding to those patterns before there are consequences. Now, we can look at that from an operational perspective, whether that's through water, and from a design perspective on water, we're designing an operation that would not be in a position to release treated water back into the environment, so we would recycle it. And those are things that industry can and does do now in many other areas, both in the high Arctic environment, where it's, again, a very sensitive environment, but also in the boreal forest, in some of the larger operations down towards the Sudbury region, for instance, like a new gold mine down in that area that has fully recycled processed water. So, I hope that answers your question in terms of how we'd like to engage other First Nations who are not yet at the table and how we are engaging with the First Nations who are there today. And I hope that people take away from it that it's an open invite and we are ready and willing to come